Hey, good evening. Good evening. I hope you all are doing well. I hope that you're not too busy over the holidays because we're actually going to talk about holiday stress. So if you're jumping on live, if you could say hi in the chat, that would be great. Um, just let me know you're here. Let me know where you're tuning in from, whatever platform you're watching on. And a lot of people watch these on replay, which is fine. So if you're watching replay, just say hashtag replay. I do circle back around and read those comments. Let me know what, if you have questions or something you agree with, disagree with, let me know in the comments. I'm Cindy Baker, ADHD and productivity coach, and I am thrilled to be here with you on this Monday night, um, middle of December. Can you believe it already? And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about thriving through the holidays, managing stress, holiday stress with ADHD. And it's kind of a continuation on what I talked about last week. But, as we approach the winter holidays, it's a time, to celebrate. It's a time of joy, connection, all that good stuff. However, for many adults with ADHD, it can also be a big source of stress and overwhelm. Right? Am I right? Let me know in the chat if you feel some extra stress over the holidays. And let me know if you're watching the replay as well. Today, we're going to explore some strategies, not just so you can survive, but you can actually thrive through the holiday season. Looking ahead to holiday events and gatherings and activities, you have anticipation and excitement, right? But there's also a little angst, is there not? So you may feel that buildup of anxiety as the holidays approach. And there was a recent APA poll that said nearly 1 in 3 Americans expect to be more stressed this holiday season than last year. I know, right? On top of the inevitable complexities and tensions of family relationships, you may be feeling the pressures of holiday shopping, gift and travel expenses, maybe the stress of hosting gatherings or managing a packed calendar of holiday events. And people have high expectations during this time of year, and sometimes unrealistic expectations, and that can add stress to the holidays. And then on top of that, you've got loneliness and grief for many people that can be heightened during the holidays, during this time of year. So I'm going to give you some coping strategies to kind of help you bolster your really your mental health during the holidays. So the first one is, if you do have ADHD, or maybe you think you do, understanding ADHD and stress is the first step, really. So we're going to kick off things by helping you understand how ADHD can interact with holiday stress. And that's one of the things, if you've never checked out my group coaching program, that's one of the things that we deal with, is just helping people understand how their ADHD works in their life and how it affects all these different areas of their life and what they can do about it. So ADHD can amplify the challenges associated with this time of year, because you've got sensory overload, time management difficulties, increased social demands. So acknowledging these factors, that's the first step in developing coping strategies. You got to realize that your ADHD is going to kick into high gear if you add a bunch of stuff in your schedule and heighten the expectations. So the first tip is, after understanding how your ADHD affects you during this time of year, is to embrace mindfulness. Now, that I'm not talking about some weird woo-woo thing. It's a powerful tool to manage stress. You've got all the holiday busyness, the hustle and bustle, and it's easy to just get caught up in all of that chaos. So take a few moments each day to practice mindfulness. That can help ground you in the present moment. It just means being aware of the moment. Instead of your mind thinking about a million other things, just focus on the moment. Like right now, you are listening to me talk. Just whatever you're doing in the moment. And it can just help ground you. It can reduce anxiety and improve your overall well-being. And it could be deep breathing exercises. One of the things I like to do is when I start to feel stress, I hunch my shoulders up like this, and then I just let them drop. And it just releases some tension. And I breathe in 4 counts really slowly and then breathe out. And I'll do that 3 times. And it doesn't take very much time, but it's amazing because instead of worrying about all the other things my brain was focused on, I'm now having to focus on breathing in the moment. And it really does reduce stress. But find, maybe you have it like a short meditation, prayer. Find what works best for you. Mindfulness, it's a valuable mental health tool, really. And mindfulness practices can be particularly helpful if you're traveling or dealing with like an unusual schedule, which happens a lot during the holidays. So if you're new to mindfulness, there are lots of online resources and apps to help you. I'm a person of faith, so I don't get into all the weird new age stuff. Sorry if you're a new age person, but that's just not my jam. But I do think there's a lot of helpful resources that just help you with deep breathing, stress reduction, things like that. The next very important tip is to simplify your schedule. Simplify. I don't know, it usually gets the opposite during the holidays. But the holiday season, it just brings this flurry of events and obligations. And it's important to recognize your limits and prioritize self-care. And I know just kind of like mindfulness, you hear self-care a lot. All that means is, take care of yourself. Learn to say no when needed and focus on activities that align with your values and bring you joy. Like for instance, for me, one of the extra things that comes this time of year is that I sing in my church choir. I go to a big mega church and we have 4 services. One year we had 8 services. That's insane. But we have long hours long rehearsals that come before that. And anyway, so if you want to hear some really good music, it's streamed online and you can message me and I'll give you the link. But if you can, be aware that if you're going to have extra stuff that you are obligated to do, that maybe you need to let go of a few other things to kind of balance it out. But do the things that align with your values and bring you joy. So by simplifying your schedule, you can reduce stress and then you create space for meaningful experiences. For a lot of people, the holidays, this whole season, it brings joy, but it can also bring more stress and some conflicting obligations. And so it's really important to prioritize and simplify. Prioritize what brings you joy and what charges you up emotionally, what people, what activities, and then simplify when you can. It might be nice to make your grandmother's cookie recipe from scratch every single holiday. But if that's stressful for you, you do not have to do that. You can buy cookies at the store and celebrate. It's okay. It's okay to say no to situations that stress you out. Whether it's attending a party with people who've mistreated you, or maybe missing a party in a week that's been too intense at work. Simplify your schedule. 4th tip is just time management tips, which are really things that you should be doing all the time, but especially put those into place during the holidays. Because time management, as you know, is a significant challenge for people with ADHD. During the holidays, it's crucial to set realistic expectations and big projects, break them into smaller, manageable steps. Utilize tools like planners, reminders, alarms to stay organized and on track. It's especially important to do that this time because you've got more stuff to keep track of. So creating a structured routine can also provide some stability. I have a morning routine and I keep that during the holidays, and it kind of grounds me a little bit. I walk the dogs, I journal, I pray, read my Bible, take a shower. I have things that I do in the morning that kind of set me up for the day. And kind of along with that is establishing boundaries. Maintaining healthy boundaries is vital, especially when the demands of the season are high, which they usually are. So communicate your needs with your friends and family and delegate tasks when you can. Setting clear boundaries ensures that you can enjoy the holidays without feeling overwhelmed. And that's really what you want. Because, a lot of times families they have that one member who can turn a pleasant conversation into a family feud, right? Um, so everybody probably has some kind of a relative like that, or maybe a crazy relative, and if you don't, maybe you're that person. No, I'm just kidding. But if you see things are starting to take a turn for the worse, try not to let it escalate. There is no shame in removing yourself temporarily from the situation. Get up and leave the room or step outside, just say you have to use the restroom or whatever. Get up, step outside until everybody cools down. Sometimes you just have to do that. And that's fine. And that's part of self-care. It doesn't do anybody any good for you to get all upset. And speaking of stepping outside, another tip is to get some fresh air and sunlight. Even if you're not a big winter sports enthusiast, getting outside to get some fresh air, exposure to sunlight, that can help relax you and lift your mood. A lot of people struggle with feelings of depression during the winter months because you've got fewer hours of sunlight and you got more time spent indoors where you're breathing recycled air. Some people have seasonal affective disorder where they actually dip into a clinical depression because of lack of sunlight. Walking outside in the sun, even if it's 10 minutes, can just be a centering and calming tool. And so I can't say enough about that. That is just so important. There's numerous studies that have pointed to the mental health benefits of spending time in nature, including stress relief, better concentration, lower levels of inflammation, for real, and improved mental energy. So Google it, nature therapy. Just look up nature therapy. But they've done a lot of research on that. And I love to be outside. I can't do it as much as I want to some days. So when I can, I do try to go out. I walk the dogs in the morning and try to go out in the middle of the day when the sun's out. So take a little break, go outside, get some fresh air. Now let's talk about grief and loss a little bit. During the holiday season, many people have a more difficult time missing a loved one. And they've got just increased grief or loss feelings during this time. I have a friend who just had to let go of her beloved dog, and she's really struggling with that. And this can be especially true for people if they're having their first holiday season without a loved one. I know a couple people in that state as well, and it's just really difficult time. So instead of trying to avoid thinking about your loved one, psychiatrists suggest actually honoring and celebrating them, by getting together with other family members and friends, and then talking about stories, treasuring life stories, especially stories that highlight important aspects of that person's life and personality. Maybe funny stories, if that lifts the mood a little bit. But definitely not trying to pretend like it's not bothering you, Um, and be sure, if you're in therapy at this time, stay in therapy through the holidays, because don't let that crazy schedule uh, make you skip too many sessions in a row. Along with grief and loss, another thing to bring up is financial stress. Okay, because holiday spending can get out of control, and it can easily leave people in debt. And then that just contributes to stress that may last well into the new year. Right now our economy is bad, right? And so that just adds to the financial burden. One of the things that I talk about in my group coaching program is budgeting, and ADHD friendly budgeting. And so try to avoid overspending, set a limit, have a budget, and focus on celebrating together and showing affection by being present, engaging and supporting each other. And instead of maybe one gift per person, maybe you exchange names, or have like a secret Santa. Instead of expensive gifts, just maybe make something homemade or handmade. And if you're not really crafty, just get something that's not that expensive and write a nice note. Because that may carry special meaning to the people receiving it way more than you going into debt buying stuff, especially little kids. They don't remember all that stuff. They play with it for a day, and then it's on to the next thing. So show some restraint with that. All right, next tip is embracing imperfection. Okay. I've talked about this many times before, but the pursuit of perfection can be a significant stressor all the time, but especially during the holidays. And I talk to a lot of ADHD adults who struggle with this. Just embrace the beauty of imperfection. Let go of unrealistic expectations. Focus on the moments of joy and connection rather than, getting everything perfect. People who come to your home, they're going to remember the conversation and maybe the food. They're not going to remember the decorations. They're not going to remember how the place settings looked. Just don't worry about getting everything perfect. Remember, the holidays are about creating memories, not achieving perfection. And if you don't have family, connect with other people who don't have family. When I'm married late in life, and I used to be involved in a big singles group at a church, and we always connected on the holidays, and we had a big potluck because a lot of people were disconnected from family, and they were single parents, or they were never married, and their extended family lived far away. And it was great because you had that connection, but you want to nurture social connections. Socializing, that's a hallmark of the season, but it can be challenging if you have ADHD. So prioritize meaningful connections and engage in activities that bring you joy. Communicate openly with your loved ones about your needs and your preferences. Develop understanding and support. Get out of yourself and serve other people who might need a listening ear. And lastly, celebrate achievements. Take a moment to celebrate your accomplishments, even if they're small. Acknowledge the efforts that you put into managing stress and navigating the challenges of the holiday season with ADHD. Reflect on the positive aspects of your experiences. Use them as a motivation to move forward. Because the winter holidays, they can be a time of joy and fulfillment for adults with ADHD when you approach them with intention and self-awareness. So embracing mindfulness, simplifying your schedule, managing your time effectively, establishing boundaries, getting outside, celebrating achievements, watching your budget, all of those things, you can navigate the season with greater ease and enjoyment. So I hope this was helpful. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. I am here to support you. Let's make this holiday a time of joy, connection, self-discovery. If you want to talk to me about my group coaching program, boy, the new year, that's a perfect time to start in the program, because it's just a time where you can kind of hit the reset button. And we deal with stress management, time management, clutter, relationships, communication, boundaries, so many things that are kind of bedrocks that you need to navigate the challenges of ADHD, but also learn how to work with the way your brain is wired and leverage your superpowers. I was talking to a member today, and she was saying her boss commented on how creative she is and how she's a problem solver. And so don't overlook those strengths that come with having an ADHD brain. And I can help you figure out how to leverage those really to your advantage. So you can kind of have a competitive edge because of your ADHD. So all you have to do is just put in the comments, I'm interested in finding out more about coaching, and I will connect with you. Usually I get on Zoom and just chat. I'd like to hear what some of your struggles are, what you've tried already, and tell you a little bit about my coaching program, and we decide together if it's a good fit. I probably will be increasing my prices sometime during 2024. So now's a great time to jump in, and just let me know if you are interested. So I hope you have happy holidays. A week from now is Christmas, and then we have New Year's, and it's just a good time of year. So take care of yourself, put those tips into practice, and I hope you have a great week.